Hi guys, Samurai here, and today I'm doing a video on just some custom guns that you can make as well. So kind of the idea of this video is that, yeah, these weapons are custom, and of course they're all Mega Bloks, but you can make them just using the parts that you get from the normal Mega Bloks guns. You don't really need to use any clay or do any kind of major amount of cutting the pieces to make them look like these specific weapons. So I'm going to go through kind of this whole list of weapons here, kind of give some pictures, tell you what they're supposed to look like, and then kind of depending on the picture, depending on what pieces you have, and depending on kind of just if you like the weapon, you can make them and use them for your own figures or custom figures. And then depending on kind of how far you want to take it, you can add some clay to these guns and kind of make them look a bit better, and then yeah, just do whatever you want with it. So let's get into the video. So we're gonna start here with some AK style rifles. So I'll take these out of the way and we'll start with this. Now if you take the bipod off, see I added a drum mag, so that's the kind of cylinder. And then yeah, if you look at this just right now, it can be an AK-47, a 74, any of that, just with the drum mag, or you can replace it with a normal mag. This is pretty standard for Mega Bloks, you get these in a lot of sets. But then you can add the bipod, and then this one, you could see it as a RPK 74, kind of a light machine gun. So that one isn't much, so if you didn't think that was kind of a very good custom, just hang on. After we get through these AKs, it'll be some more kind of involved customs. Now here we have a Galil style rifle. It's kind of one of the old Galils. It has this stock. It doesn't look exactly kind of similar to the real weapon, but it's close enough if you want your figure to have a Galil and you don't want to do any custom work. Now, last of all, here for the AKs, we have an AK-12. It's a little bit too long, but if you want to cut out a bit of the barrel and reattach the front of the barrel, then you can make it a bit shorter and more accurate. This just uses the stock from, I think, the new shotguns. And yeah, you'll recognize that part if you have it. There's a good look at it. And then we can move on to some better weapons. So now we have two MP5s here. This is one of the old MP5s that had the fixed stock. There will be a picture there showing that. It still has one of the M4 mags, since Mega Bloks doesn't make any kind of thinner 9mm mags, which is what the MP5 takes since it's a submachine gun. So it doesn't look extremely accurate, but if you're okay with that, then that's all good. And then here, using one of the vector stocks, you can put that on, and either this can be one of the newer MP5s with the collapsible stock, or because of the M4 mag, you can look at this as like a 416C, which anyone who plays Rainbow Six Siege would know is Jaeger's assault rifle. And yeah, so now we'll move on to the M4. And here we have these M4s. So, see here, you can use the stock from the LMGs. I think the newer LMGs, the same one that has the barrel of the AK-12 here. And then you just add that to the normal M4 barrel that Mega Bloks makes. And this looks like kind of one of the generally newer soft mod M4s. Then you can also just switch out the stock, and this kind of looks like one of the stocks that kind of aftermarket stocks that Magpul makes. And then this is a bit more of a kind of Special Forces M4. You can add any sights you want to it, of course. And then looking at both of these, if you do just a little bit of custom work, you can make them look pretty good, because see here my Chris Kyle, if this will focus. There we go. Chris Kyle uses pretty much the exact same rifle as this, just painted up a little bit. I added a suppressor, and if you just use a little bit of clay to make the sight and the foregrip, then this turned out pretty good. Then also taking Chris Kyle out of the way, you can see that this is my LAPD SWAT figure, and he again uses one of the M4s with the collapsible stock. And then for him, I just cut down the barrel a little bit, again used some clay for the sight, and added a PEC box, which is a laser sight. And then now I guess we'll go to some M16. The M16s here aren't much of a real kind of custom. It pretty much uses just the M16 build from the Vietnam War sets. I think there was the riverboat kind of set, and the little troop pack of kind of 4 figures in the jungle. But then this is kind of a bit more of a modernized M16. It uses again that same stock that's used on the newer shotguns. It kind of looks like a Keltec KSG stock. And then here is pretty much directly the same type of build, just using the old M16 stock, like just the plastic or polymer stock, and then I just added a scope. And then for both of these, to make them look more modern, you can use the more modern M4 standard mags rather than the stick mags. And that's pretty much it for the M16s. Now here we also have a honey badger. This one isn't extremely accurate to how the real honey badger works. You'll see the picture up here. But here again you have the vector kind of telescoping stock, and then you just have one of the submachine gun barrels and a suppressor on it. You can add a red dot sight. This is just the honey badger that I had for my old custom Keegan figure from Call of Duty Ghosts. And then here I'll also show you how to make a stoner, or sorry, not stoner, the Knights Armament Company LAMG, the light assault machine gun. So here again you'll be seeing a picture. Sorry, I'm just taking the barrel off another one of the guns that I will show in a minute. But then, sorry, this isn't focusing. There we go. But then you've got the stock and the barrel. Just add those like that. And if you cut down the barrel just a little bit, down to about that length, that looks pretty accurate to the Knights Armament Company, LAMG. Again, that's the stock from the Barrett 50 cal, kind of sniper rifle, and same, this is the barrel, just cut down. Usually it's about kind of long, about this long, like that much extra. But if you cut it down, it's actually a pretty useful barrel for some other weapons. And now we'll move on to some more kind of really customized. Now, last of all, we'll look at a DRD Tactical Paratus and Aptus rifle and an ACR. Now, these ones need a bit more custom work than some of the other ones. See, the Paratus here, actually I'll put a video down in the description that kind of shows off these rifles. They're pretty neat. They're able to come apart and just fit into a very small Pelican case. So they're kind of made to be like covert rifles, and this is actually a DMR kind of rifle. It shoots a 7.62 308. That's just the NATO standard as far as kind of designated marksman rifles go. And then this, the Aptus, just shoots 5.56, same as the M4. So looking at the Paratus, you can see that it uses the stock that usually comes on all of the normal M4s that Megabox makes. It's the kind of collapsible Magpul stock, and it can also fold to the side. And then this is that same barrel that was on the Knights Armament Company LAMG. This is kind of a good length for the Paratus, but again, as I said, if you cut it down, then it's good for that LAMG. This just uses one of the stick mags, and I have one of the Barrett 50 cal sniper scopes on it. As for the Aptus, this one requires a little bit of cutting the gun down. This is the same barrel that is used for the MP5 and all that, but if you cut off the little front sight post, then it's just flat, kind of looks like you have a rail there. And then if you cut off the rail that's on the top, like see the difference, you have the whole rail for mounting sights, then you make that flat and that looks more like a Picatinny rail. Also, to make the Aptus apparatus look more realistic, if you just cut down the sides a little bit on a 45-degree angle up top, then that looks more like the real one. And then also, once you've cut that off, if you want to make an EOTech or any kind of sight, you can just glue that on the top, just like so pretty much. And that looks pretty good. I'm not sure, I can't remember if I've made a video on how to make the EOTech, but it's pretty simple. You use a little bit of clay for the middle here, and then just using a little piece of kind of super thin plastic, I just cut out the shape to then fold it around and make the sighting area, and you can see that then it has the space so the figure can look through it. Then going on to the last weapon here, the ACR. This again is pretty simple, but it needs a bit of work. See here, again you have one of the Barrett 50 cal barrels. I did say that it'll be useful for a lot of weapons. Again, you cut off the rail on the top, and then you can add a sight. Here again I have an EOTech. This up here is just a folding down sight, which I just glued on the front. You don't need to do that. But again, use that same M4 Magpul stock that I mentioned on the Paratus and the Aptus. And here I just used the PMag that is from the X95 bullpup rifles, which Magbox also makes, and they've been in a few sets now. They just came out a while ago. And that's pretty much it for all these rifles, and now I'll wrap up And now this concludes my video on some custom weapons that you can make for your own figures pretty easily without too much modification. I'll put a link down in the description, as I said before, for the DRD Tactical Aptus and Paratus, showing off how they work, since they're pretty kind of obscure weapons if you aren't really into firearms. And then I'll also put a link to my video on Chris Kyle, American Sniper, and my custom LAPD SWAT figure. So yeah, that wraps up the video. Please like and subscribe, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Sandman out.